me just move over to this seat for a second. Oh, hey guys. Funny to see you guys here. Welcome. I'm just on this, let me get up here. I'm just on this train actually heading over to another area of Seoul to go meet a friend. And no one else is on the train today. So I figure we have the train all to ourselves. There's Wi-Fi in Korean public transportation. Korea's really amazing about that. So, I figure why don't we just teach the lesson from the train? I've got at least like 4 or 5 stops. So we should have plenty of time for the lesson today. So yeah, welcome everyone. Let's see who's here. Since I'm still using my old tablet until this dies, and I don't know, like I said, it's at its end of life. Maybe a few more streams we can get out of it. I don't know. I can't scroll up, but I can see you guys commenting right now. Welcome to my mods, Chris White and Arlie. Also to my members, I see Cheryl. I think I saw Sam a bit ago. Let me check on the computer. Yeah, Sam, Ocean Discovery, Lynn. Cool. Welcome, you guys. We will get started with the lesson in just over 10 minutes. And Billy's so thrifty. Yes, before we start the lesson, though, make sure you know the prerequisites. There is time to go learn at least one of these prerequisites by watching an abridged version before this class starts. The prerequisites for today are that you know how to conjugate verbs. So that I'm just saying that in general, you want to make sure you can conjugate verbs in the past, present, future tense, as well as progressive tense. You want to be able to conjugate both action verbs and descriptive verbs. And if you are an intermediate learner and you want to be able to get the most out of the intermediate section of this lesson, which will be during the second half of today's lesson, then you want to also make sure that you can conjugate descriptive verbs and action verbs into adjectives, past, present, and future tense. So if you're not an intermediate learner and that didn't make any sense to you, don't worry. The beginner portion of the lesson does not require that. But for the beginner portion of the lesson, if you want to get the most out of the beginner part, the first half of this lesson, you want to be able to conjugate verbs, also use numbers together with counters. So you should be able to count things like, say, 3 pigs, or I bought 2 pencils. Those sort of counters and numbers you want to be familiar with today, or at least be able to understand them for the lesson, because several sentences we're using are going to need that type of concept. After all, the topics we're going to be doing today are going to be about the words Jim, Chengdu, and 약. And all of those have to do with making approximations, like you're saying about 3 people, about 50. And you need to know numbers in order to do that, as well as counters. So these are the key parts about today's lesson. So make sure you're familiar with these. Let's see who else is here. Doing the workbook and watching this. Nice. Something is missing? Is something missing? I'm not sure what Minal is referring to. May Nini. Hi, Billy. It's my first time. Welcome. It's my first time there. There? You're here? I think you mean here. But welcome. I was studying this the other day too. Love the KeyCat. Yeah, I don't know. It's the train always plays some, whatever is popular with the kids these days. I don't even watch the TV these days, but maybe some K-pop song is on TV. Who knows? Okay, let's see. And yeah, if you just came in here and you're wondering about the lesson, we will be starting right at 2 o'clock, which is about 9 minutes from now. Also, the regular announcements that I make every lesson. First of all, you can get the worksheet as well as the outline for today's live stream from Patreon. So if you want to review all of the sentences, all of the explanations and topics, everything, all the notes that I use here to teach you, you can get these on the outline, and they're all available on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member of all levels, you can access those, as well as there is a worksheet for most live streams, at least all of them for about a year now. And today's, I think, has about 16 translation questions, so you can practice the topic either before, if you've already learned it, or after, if you're watching this lesson right now. And the worksheet is actually available on Patreon right now. So if you want to check out some more examples, usually those are harder level than what we do during the live stream. So I put more difficult stuff on the worksheet so that you have an opportunity to see more real world examples. Definitely check that out. I'm like out of breath. I'm like talking really long. Other announcements are, of course, if you would like to support my channel, you can become a Patreon, as I mentioned. You could also become a YouTube member of this channel. If you are, you will get access to watch all of these videos that we're watching right now. You'll get the abridged version the same night as the live stream. So tonight, if you check my YouTube channel and you're a member, you can watch this video right now that I haven't even taught. I haven't even finished teaching yet. I haven't even started teaching yet. You can watch the abridged version. It'll be about 10 minutes or so tonight before everyone else, but only YouTube members can do that. Also, other announcements. Let me post some merchandise here. Of course, you do not have to financially support me in any way. But if you'd like to, there are plenty of options. Let me pick one. Let's see. Do I want to do that? Let's do the KitKat shirt. Sure, let's do the KitKat shirt today. It's a bunch of different stuff. Just to check out, like I said, it's just another way to support this channel if you are able to. If not, just watching this video, I'm very appreciative of that. So don't feel required to support me. I will keep making these videos for free regardless. I am that stubborn. I'm going to keep teaching Korean. All I want with this channel, to be honest, is I just want to be able to keep living. So I want to pay my rent and I want to keep teaching Korean, okay? I don't have like great grand aspirations for becoming super wealthy or famous or anything. I just want to teach you guys Korean. Just keep that in mind. 포야 S. Hey 포야. 안녕하세요. 잘 지냈어요? 빌리님. 네, 잘 지냈어요. Thank you, 포야. 포우야. Thank you, Poya. I'll give you a 2 dabs for that. As usual, 1 dab per dollar. Last class we did 1 curl with a weight per dollar. Fortunately, I did not die, but that was dangerous. That had the potential to kind of kill me. So that didn't end up doing too much damage though that day, fortunately. Was that a zombie bee? I don't believe I'm heading toward Busan right now. At least I don't think I am. Small. I got on this train. It said it's going south. I'm just going a few stops south to meet a friend, a little bit south of Seoul. So we'll see. Train is going pretty fast though, but anyway, we'll see how that goes. Glad I was able to make you exercise, Billy. Yes, I remember that. Are you drinking an energy drink today? Every time I do a class, I drink a little bit of caffeine. Now, I am very sensitive to caffeine. So what you might have you might have like a monster drink or something. For me, 30 milligrams of caffeine is enough. So in here is, I think, 50 or 60, and I usually drink about half of it during the live stream and editing. So this is enough. Oh, I see something. Linda, thank you. Let me do 10 dabs first, and then I'll check out your message. Thank you. Hi, Billy. I just got your first book along with the workbook. Nice. Thank you. How long should it take me to complete it? I mean, what would be your ideal timing to complete it? I would not go for a goal of more than 1 chapter every 3 days if you're going really fast. So I'd say if you could get through the first book in 2 months and actually know the material, that's wonderful. There is a lot in there. So if you could learn all of that material in 2 months, that's definitely fast enough. And even at that, it's kind of fast. You'd have to be doing a lot of practice. So you can obviously read a chapter in like 20 minutes if you just want to just read it really quick. But by that, I mean reading it, practicing it, reading it again, practicing it again, making some sentences with it, doing the practice problems at the end, memorizing the vocabulary, reviewing the chapter again, that kind of thing. I think if you could do the first book in 2 months, it would be really good. But don't rush. If you feel like you're moving too fast and you didn't get it, then obviously it should take longer. Yeah, it depends on the person. Small. Yeah, I don't drink caffeine if I can help it. Yeah, I only drink caffeine for these streams actually, or if I'm extremely tired, because usually it doesn't actually make me wake up or anything. It just gives me a headache. It just gives me extra energy and gives me a headache. So, but if I drink caffeine and I'm tired, well, now I'm just tired and I have a headache. Books. Yes, that's the link to the book. They're quite popular, and if you don't want to buy a book, if you want to learn Korean for free, I also have a free Korean beginner course. It's not the same as the book material. It's its own thing. And currently, I think it's up to lesson 54, but there will be 100 episodes in that, and that's completely free. So every week I'm uploading 2 of those episodes. So for those of you who'd like to learn Korean on the internet without buying I was trying to say book and course, and I said bourse almost. Anyway, if you'd like to learn for free, you can check out that, and that will be completely uploaded by the end of March. And actually, I'm finishing doing the editing right now. I think I'm editing episode 88 just tomorrow. So it's almost finished as far as it's almost being completed right now. Will you make an app? I don't know what app I would make. I don't know about that. I can't memorize for the life of me, so Hangul has been a problem. You're not alone, and you don't need to have good memory to learn Korean, I think, because you speak English and you don't necessarily have to remember those words that you're using, but you do need a lot of time and a lot of practice to learn Korean, not necessarily great memorization skills. Now, if you have great memorization skills, that does help. That can make it faster for you to learn than other people. But if you don't, you can still learn. You just need to do a lot of practicing. 여러분, 안녕하세요. Please, is buying 4 of your books enough support, or what else can you... people also make donations. I mean, if you happen to be like a rich person and you're like, I love what Billy's doing, I really want to support him, send me an email. We can work something out. But for everyone else, like I said, I don't expect donations. I don't expect your money. I just am doing this to honestly just make sure you guys can learn Korean and give you one more resource you can use for learning. So we'll get started in just 1 minute now. You don't need a good memory? Yeah, I don't really think so. I don't think you need an exceptionally good memory. Now, if you have damaged memory, like, you can't make memories or anything, I don't know what to tell you. But as long as you're a regular person without any sort of injuries that prevent you from memorizing things, I'm talking about like if your name is Jason Bourne or something like that, yeah, you can definitely learn Korean. You just might need more time than someone who's really, really good at memorizing things in order to get used to it. How can I make the best reviewing for the entire... So you're asking, what's the best way to review things that I've studied? By using them. So I often recommend getting pen pals and practicing Korean with them, even if you're very poor at the language, even if you're very beginner. Just practicing making short sentences using what you can. That's the best way to review the grammar. And then obviously by doing that enough for a long time, that will end up leading to being able to use it more quickly, using a wider variety of vocabulary and grammar and all of those things. Okay, so let's get started with today's lesson. The only thing I don't like is this caffeine drink I have is like way too sweet. Maybe that means I'm getting used to caffeine. I don't know. I feel like, oh, it's way too sweet. I wish it was just a little bit less sweet. And then maybe a year later, I'll be like, I wish it was less sweet. And then I'll be like, I want some black tea. Maybe this is how it starts. Starts with drinking this overly sweet caffeine drink. And then slowly I'm like doing Earl Grey after like a year. And then I'm like, Earl Grey, way too sweet. Blech. Give me something more bitter than that. Okay, we'll see. All right, so today we're going to be learning about several words and grammar forms that have to do with the meaning of about, or approximately, or around. And the first word we're going to be learning is Jim. Now, again, for a quick disclaimer, this lesson is for both beginners and intermediates. So if you are an intermediate and this is way too easy for you, don't worry. We're going to be doing some intermediate stuff after we get the beginner stuff out of the way. And the way you use this is you take a noun and you attach Jim directly after it. Now, this noun can actually be any word. I'm just writing noun to make it easy. You take a word and you attach Jim without a space. And this means about or approximately. It's right here. Or around. And what it means by these things is it means that you're making a guess. You're making an approximation about something. It's going to be about an amount of something. So about 1 hour, around August, or about, approximately 1 month ago. That sort of meaning. This noun, like I said, will be amount. Let me write it here first. So if you're wondering what types of things this is used with, this word Jim is specifically used with amounts, numbers, and time. But it's not only Jim. In fact, all three of these words we're going to be learning today. Jim. Next will be Chengdu, and then yak. All can translate as these three things: about, approximately, and around. And all three of them are used with an amount, a number, or time. So you don't actually have to learn this set. You don't actually have to learn this separately for each one. If you learn this thing once, you can apply it to all three of the words we're going to be learning today. That's the nice thing. Okay. Now, Chengdu will be slightly different, but it also matches all of these two. Chengdu just has one additional meaning that we'll learn in the intermediate section. But you can learn that all three of the words we're going to be learning today have this meaning and are used for these things. So again, about, approximately, or around when making a guess or an approximation about an amount, a number, or a time. Okay, so that's almost everything you need to know with Jim. But there's one more small detail I think that's important to know. So there's one more small detail about Jim, and that it is not formal. Not formal. Not formal. Well, Jim is not formal. Okay. The other thing you need to know about Jim is that it is not a formal word. So if you are writing a speech, or if you are going to be using formal Korean, such as the nida form or anything like that, if you want to sound extra polite, do not use Jim. Jim is not formal. So keep that in mind. It is not slang and it's not casual, but it is not formal. It is an informal word. So you'll only see it in things like speech, people talking with each other. I don't mean giving a speech, but just people speaking. People speaking or just talking with each other normally, or writing things that are not really very formal. So general use writing and general speaking. All right. So that is all you need to know about Jim. Let's go ahead and do a few quick examples. How are you guys doing? Check the, oh, hey, Secretive, welcome. My third mod is here. I know there's one more mod who's not here, but the three coolest ones are here. Definitely the coolest ones are here. Nika's not here. He's one of the others. He's cool too, but he's cooler when he's here. I'm just teasing him. 1시간쯤. Actually, since this is the beginner one, let me write a little bit cleaner. 한 시간, 1 hour. 한 시간쯤, about, around, approximately 1 hour. 기다렸어요. I waited around, about, approximately an hour. So I waited about an hour. 한 시간쯤 기다렸어요. I waited about an hour, or around an hour, or approximately an hour. Remember that this is used for making a guess or an approximation about time, a number, or an amount. So here it's about an hour. And again, for spacing, it attaches directly to the word. In this case, 시간 is a counter. So it's not just a regular word, but it's a word that you would be able to use the word about or approximately together with. So about 1 hour, no space. So remember, no space here. 시간쯤. All right, let's do our next example. Actually, You guys can do this sentence. It's a little bit more difficult than this, but I think you guys can do it. I'll go to Korea around August. Now, in case you don't know August, Korean months are counted by going from 1 to 12, 1 being January and 12 being December, and then you finish it with 월. The only exceptions are June, which is 6, and October. These are the only exceptions. June is not yuk, but yu월. Sorry, it's messy. I know I'm not really teaching months today for the lesson. I just figured why not. And then October, I'm just doing this while you guys are writing it. And October is 시월, not 십월. 유월 and 시월 are exceptions. Everything else is just 1 through 12 with 월 attached. So August would be 8. 8월, because it's the 8th month of the year. 8월 is August. So I'll go to Korea around August. How would you say that? Jaehoon Ham, nice. Sure. 8월쯤 한국에 갈게요. 한국에 8월쯤 갈 거예요. In August, I will go to Korea. Okay. 8월쯤 한국에 갈 거예요. Nice. 8월쯤 한국에 갈 거예요. 8월쯤에 한국에 갈 거예요. Okay. 8월쯤에. Okay, Poya S has the first perfect answer. I'm just reading your other answers. Yeah, Mia Allen, us. Maybe one person might have copied someone else before, so a bunch of people weren't using the A. Normally when you're using a time, now this lesson is not about time, but you attach A to mean at. Like if you said 2시, 2 o'clock, 2시에 만나요. I'm meeting you at 2. Well, months are also included in that. So you wouldn't say just August, but you would say in August. 8월에. Or here we have 쯤, 8월쯤에. So it would be 8월쯤에 with the A at the end. Okay, let's give you the answer for this. But if you were to just say 8월쯤 한국에 갈 거예요, it still makes perfect sense. It's not like totally wrong, but it's less natural than saying in August. Like if you don't say the A, it's like saying I'll go to Korea August. I'll go to Korea around the month around August. It's okay, but normally you would want to say I'm going to Korea in August in Korea. Like I'm going to Korea August versus I'm going to Korea in August. Well, they both make sense in English too, but the in one sounds better. So you'd want to use 쯤에 as well. So what am I trying to write? I almost wrote the infinity sign. So we have 8월쯤에. Now, if you're ever not sure if you should use A, would you use A here? Yes, you would. So there you go. I'm just, kind of going in depth about why it's 8월쯤에. Okay, 8월쯤에 한국에 갈 거예요. 8월쯤에 한국에 갈 거예요. 8월, August, 쯤, around, approximately, about, August. So, or in, around August. So, around August, 한국에 갈 거예요. I will go to Korea around August. If we didn't use 쯤, it would still be 8월에 한국에 갈 거예요. So, I will go to Korea in August. Now it's I will go to Korea around August. 8월쯤에 한국에 갈 거예요. How are we on time? Yeah, not bad. Okay. 한 달 전쯤. 한 달, 1 month, 전, ago, before. So about, 1 month ago. About a month ago. Actually, you guys write what you would finish this sentence with. 한 달 전쯤. About 1 month ago. So now we're saying 한 달 전. 1 month ago. 한 달 전쯤. What would you guys finish this sentence with? It can be anything. there are lots of things that you could say 한 달 전쯤. I just want you guys to make an example using it. I'll finish my example, but you guys can write whatever you want. And then I'll check some of your sentences. Mine's going to say, I sent a letter. 편지를 보냈어요. I sent a letter about a month ago. 한 달 전쯤. About or around or approximately 한 달 전. 1 month ago. So about 1 month ago, 편지를 보냈어요. I sent a letter or I sent the letter about a month ago. I sent the letter about a month ago. 한 달 전쯤 편지를 보냈어요. 한 달 전쯤 편지를 보냈어요. Let's see what you guys are getting. Oops. See what I don't know what stop we're at right now. We're not there yet though. Okay. What's the difference between 개월 and 달? Both are fine. They both mean for counting months. 달 uses pure Korean numbers. 개월 uses Sino-Korean numbers. I think 개월 will be the more formal version that you'll see on writing in documents, and 달 will be more of a spoken version, but it's not like one of them is impolite or anything. They're both fine. Just the 개월 one with Sino-Korean has a little bit more of a fancy feeling to it. But that's it. 한 달 전쯤 학교를 시작했어요. Nice, Angela. I started school about a month ago. 한 달 전쯤 친구를 만났어요. Okay, met a friend. 결혼했어요. Nice, Binky. Congratulations on your wedding. I don't know. I'm just sure that's not real, but still, congratulations on getting the sentence right. 한 달 전쯤 다이어트 시작했어요. 디어트. You should be 다이어트. 다. So just the first syllable should be 다 for 단비 아이샤. 한 달 전쯤 지영 씨와 헤어졌다. Oh, so sad. I broke up with Jin Young about a month ago. A small note, KB1. Whenever you use she, there's actually supposed to be a space. It's not very important, but there's a space there. 한 달 전쯤 한국어를 배우기 시작했어요. Nice, Andy. I'm sure you did not start learning Korean 1 month ago, but that's a very good sentence. 한 달 전쯤 다시 대학교에 갔어요. 한 달 전쯤 제 Lynn, 친구를 만났어요. If you say 친구가 만났어요, that's like my friend met. But then who did my friend meet? You could say 친구가 다른 친구를 만났어요. My friend met another friend. Or 친구를 만났어요. 한 달 전쯤 한국어를 공부했어요. I studied Korean about a month ago. Okay? 공부 안 Minel Shukla. What you have is 한 달 전쯤, about a month ago, I do not study Korean. 공부 안 해요. So your tenses don't match. So it's probably a correct sentence. If you studied Korean, you would. I'm just teasing you. But yeah, your tenses don't match. You'd want to do 안 했어요, since you're talking about the past tense. Or I wasn't studying. 안 하고 있었어요 would be okay too. 전쯤 유튜브에서 빌리를 봤음. I saw Billy on YouTube about a month ago. Okay. Nice. Great job. I'm not going to keep reading. I want to keep going. But great job. You have some fun sentences. So again, mine is 한 달 전쯤 편지를 보냈어요. So I sent a letter about a month ago. Okay. I think you guys have got the hang of 좀. So now let's go on to our next word, and that is 정도. The way to use 정도 is similar to 좀, however, there is a space here. That makes it 10 times harder. Now we're in advanced Korean territory. You got to add a space. If you don't add a space, it looks a little bit weird. So 좀, however, so remember, 좀 has no space. 정도 has a space. Also, just like 좀, 정도 also means about, around, or approximately. And just like 좀, 정도 is used for making a guess or an approximation about an amount, a number, or a time. Okay. However, then what's the difference between 좀 and 정도? If you're just trying to make a word to say about or approximately or around, 정도 is the same meaning as 좀. The only difference is 정도 can be used in both formal and informal situations. Now remember that Jim can only be used in informal situations. You can't use Jim in speeches or formal writing or formal documents. 정도 can. 정도 has a slightly more formal sound than Jim. That doesn't mean that 정도 is a fancy word. 정도 is not a fancy word. It's not only a formal word. It's okay to use it in speech. I use it in speech all the time. 정도 sounds totally fine in speaking, but it has a slightly more formal sound than Jim, and as a result, 정도 can be used in formal speech, but Jim is not. That's it. Now, there are, of course, other differences when we talk about a grammar form we're going to be going into, which is 정도로. We'll do that after. But if you're just talking about the word being used with a noun, 정도 equals Jim, except 정도 is slightly more formal. You got it? Okay. Oh, also I'll say this. If you really want a small detail, I guess because it's slightly more formal, Jim will be a little bit more commonly used in casual speech than 정도. So if you're wondering, well, okay, Billy, they're the same. Which one should I use? Okay, you can use either, but which one should I use? Just let me pick one. Okay, use Jim, because Jim is slightly more common in casual speech. With your friends, you'll hear Jim a little bit more than you'll hear 정도. But that's about it. Okay, let's do an example. Now, this doesn't mean that 정도 equals Jim in other uses, but just when it's used this way, it does. Okay. Oops, what am I doing? Actually, let me write it. Let me write it so I can show the spacing. 제가 5개 정도. So I, about, around, or approximately 5 things, 5 objects. We don't know what it is yet. 5개 정도. 가져갈게요. So I will bring 가져가다, 가지다, to carry something, to take something. 가다, to go. Literally, 가져가다 means to take something and go. So we would say to take it there, or I'll bring it there, that sort of meaning. So I will bring, 가져갈게요. I will bring about 5. So I'll bring about 5. Maybe your friend asks you, hey, do you think you can bring some speakers for our party? We need speakers around the house. Of course, don't have a party right now, everyone. Please don't. I need about 5 speakers for my party that's planned next year. So you say, okay, 제가 5개 정도 가져갈게요. Okay, I will bring about 5. I'll bring around 5, or I'll bring approximately 5. 제가 5개 정도 가져갈게요. 제가 5개 정도 가져갈게요. Note again, there is a space right here between the number, or whatever you use here, and 정도. Okay. So I'm not going to give you any more example sentences with 정도 used like this because it is the same as Jim when you're using it to mean about or around or approximately. But 정도 has one more usage which is not exchangeable with Jim. I should say 정도 has one more usage though that is not interchangeable with Jim. And that is when it's being used to mean an amount. 정도 can also translate as a degree, not as in the temperature degree, but is it a degree, how much is something? To what degree? Or an amount, in that sense. In fact, the 도 in 정도 is the word that means degree in Korean. They use it for temperature and stuff like that. 정도 means degree or an amount. Literally, 정도 means an agree. What am I saying? An agree? Literally, 정도 means degree or amount. In fact, even when you're using it to mean about or approximately, 정도 still literally means a degree or an amount. I think degree is the closest literal translation if you really want to be picky. 정도 means to what degree? This degree, this amount, how much something is, as in, you know, the quantity of it, how much it is, the extent of it. that sort of word degree. Again, not temperature degree, but any other degree. So 정도 means degree or an amount. Well, this meaning also, you'll see this meaning used in a grammar form we're going to be learning next for intermediates. But just with the word by itself, for beginners, you can still use this word to mean degree or an amount. Now, it's not going to be used with counters or regular nouns like we did before. Most of the time you'll see this. 99% of the time you see this, it's going to be with the words 이 or 그, as in this or that. Now note that 이 and 그 are adjectives. Again, 이 doesn't mean this thing, like this is cool. That doesn't, you can't say 이는 like that. 이 is an adjective, so you have to attach it before another word. And in this case, you can say something like 이 정도, this amount, this degree, this much. Now, literally, 정도 means a degree or an amount. But then when do you say that? When would you want to use that in a regular situation? Or as a beginner, when would you want to say 정도? Anytime you want to say the word this much or that much, you'll use a degree or this amount. So you're saying, yes, that amount, this degree, that amount, whatever, how much someone is doing of something, right? In English, we would naturally translate as much, but there are other words that can mean as much as, so don't get it confused with that. This is just how you can translate it into a natural English sentence, but it does not literally mean much. There's actually a different word that can be used to mean the amount of something, like that much, but that has a different use. But if you just want to say something like this much or that much, or even how much, not as far as price. If you're asking how much is it, that's a different word. But if you want to say, you know, how much do you want me to turn the music up, right? How much do you want? How much of a cool party do you want? You can use 정도 with this sort of meaning. To what degree? To what amount? That sort of meaning. What amount is good? What degree would be better, right? Should I turn the music up this much? 이 정도? Like that. So let's do an example sentence with this. Hopefully this is making sense. Again, this is still supposed to be our beginner sentences. Okay, I want you guys to translate this sentence. I'm not going to tell you what any word means. I'm not going to tell you what any word means. I'll give you a minute, and then I'll tell you the answer. Because we only have 1 minute, so I can keep on track with the lesson for today. 이 정도면 충분해. 이 정도면 충분해. Augustus. Nobody look at Augustus's comment, or else you'll get the right answer. Philip. 정도로, not 로, 로, is a different grammar form we're going to be learning next. 정도로. That's not this one. You could say that, but it sounds very awkward if you attach the 로 when you're using it to mean an amount. It's used in a grammar form, which we'll learn next. But the rest of your sentence is fine. 어느 정도. Yeah, actually, I'll tell you guys that. I'll tell you after a second. After we do this word. After we do the sentence. This much is enough. This much. If this. Okay. Nice, nice. Several of you have it. If you don't have it, don't worry. You might not know the words yet. So, 이 정도. This much. Literally this amount or this degree. 이 정도면. If it's this much. 충분하다 means to be sufficient or to be enough. So, if it is this much, it is enough. Or we would just say, this much is enough. That's fine. This is fine. 이 정도면 충분해. This is enough. Like maybe your friend's giving you some water and you're like, oh, I'm so thirsty. And he keeps pouring. You're like, oh, I'm so thirsty. And he keeps pouring. You're like, okay. 이 정도면 충분해. Okay, this is enough. 이 정도면 충분해. This much is enough. That's enough. Or you could say 그 정도면 if it's something away from you, something close to the speaker. 그 정도면 충분해. That much is enough. 이 정도면 충분해. So this much is enough. One more small thing. It's not on my schedule for today, but I'll tell you because someone mentioned it. 어느 정도 is the other word I was saying. Well, I wasn't saying this word, but I was talking about the meaning. 어느 means which. Which degree, which amount, or which much, if you want to think of it that way. In English, we would say how much. So you should learn this separately. Just learn this as a set. This means how much, not price. If you go to the store, 어느 정도예요? Actually, okay, I take it back. They would understand what you mean. They would know you mean about how much is it going to cost. As in, to what degree is this? Like, what's the damage? That sort of meaning when you're buying something. But this is not the normal way to say how much is it, as in how much does it cost. But how much, as in how much of something. Someone gave a good example sentence. 한국어를 어느 정도 하세요? 한국어를 어느 정도 하세요? How much Korean can you speak? How much Korean do you speak? As in, which amount? What degree? Which degree do you speak of Korean? 어느 정도 좋아하세요? BTS를 어느 정도 좋아하세요? How much do you like BTS? You could say it like that, as in, to what extent? To what degree? That sort of meaning. So yeah, that's not on the lesson plan today, but someone mentioned it. So yeah, just keep in mind, this is not how much does it cost. Although if you used it that way, 이건 어느 정도예요? It makes sense, but it could be okay in some situations, but it's not the regular way you would say it. I think it would sound awkward if you're not using it in the right case. So yeah, how much? Okay. And I'm probably not going to put that in the abridged live stream. I think that's only going to be in this lesson. So if you're watching this lesson, you get that. If you're not watching the lesson, you just missed it. Because I don't think it's not on the outline for today. I don't feel like putting it on the outline. Okay. The final word we're going to be learning about in today's lesson, before we go on to the intermediate lesson part, is 약. Now, yes, if you're familiar with Korean, 약 is also the word for medicine. If you go to Korea and you get sick, you want to search for a building that says this on it. 약국, 약국. It means pharmacy. 약 means medicine. But here it's a different word. It's not the same. It does not come from the same word. It's just a homophone. Same sound, different meaning. 약. This one is done by taking 약 and putting it before a noun with a space. So this one is used before, not after. So it's not, if you wanted to say about 1 hour, you wouldn't say 한 시간 약. That's wrong. That would sound like 1 hour medicine, which would still sound wrong. 약 한 시간, about 1 hour. Just like Jim and Chandu, this word also can translate as about or around or approximately. And just like Jim and Chandu, this is used to make a guess or an approximation about a number or a time or an amount. So in that way, this has the same meaning as Jim and Chengdu. However, this one, just like Chengdu, this one can be used in both formal and informal speech. So you can use it in formal writing or giving a speech or anything like that, but you can also use it in your regular informal conversations if you want. Now, it is slightly more formal, so it's slightly less common in, do you like that? It's so annoying. I'm so annoying. It is slightly less common than Jim. Jim is the most common in casual speech and informal speech. 정도 and 약 are kind of similar in that they're slightly more formal sounding, so it's okay to use them in formal situations, but they're still fine for informal situations. But this word, no matter how you use it, what am I trying to say? Can't write here. Okay. No matter how you're using it though, it does sound, this word, however, does sound a little bit fancy. That doesn't mean you can't use it in your casual speech. It's fine. Go ahead. But it has a slightly fancy feeling. So I think a good way to think of this word is approximately. Now, all of these words can translate as approximately, but I think this one kind of has more of the feeling of saying approximately in English, right? Now, you could say, yeah, I was there about approximately 3 minutes. And it sounds okay for casual speech, but it also sounds fine for writing a newspaper article or giving a speech. Approximately 3 people witnessed the horrendous, something like that. Approximately. So it has a slightly fancy feeling when you use it. So again, it's used before the noun. So let's do a couple examples of this. Oh, this is the one you'll hear on the subway. This is the one you'll hear on a train or anything like that. They'll say approximately 3 minutes until the next stop or something like that. Or the station is approximately 50 meters ahead. Look for the bathrooms approximately 5 meters ahead. Like that sort of approximately. You'll hear it in announcements all the time. Whereas you probably won't hear Chengdu just because yak has kind of a fancy feeling. Anyway, so let's do a sentence. 그 회사. So that company, A. So at that company, or here it's going to be in or to that company. So to that company, 약 2억 won. Now, 억 means 100 million. So here it's 200 million won. Approximately 200 million won. 약 2억 원을 투자했어요. 투자하다 means to invest. So, 그 회사에 약 2억 원을 투자했어요. I invested approximately 200 million won. That would be about, what, $200,000, I guess? Give or take a bit due to exchange rates. So I invested about 200 million won in that company. 그 회사에 약 2억 원을 투자했어요. So it has slightly a fancy feeling to it. Approximately 200 million won. So I invested approximately 200 million won into that company. 그 회사에 약 2억 원을 투자했어요. Okay, let's do one more example sentence with this. Okay, I want you guys to finish this sentence. How would you guys finish this sentence? I'll write the beginning. 저는 매주 means every week. 저는 매주. So every week, 약 8시간, 8 hours. So approximately 8 hours. 정도. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is this? Hold on. Hold the phone. What is going on here? Am I seeing things straight? Do I need glasses? Wait, 약 정도? No, Billy, something's wrong. Let's put a note here. These particles can actually be used together. How you can use it together? Actually, let me finish this sentence and I'll tell you how that works. Okay, actually, I want you guys to finish the sentence first while you're doing that. While you guys are finishing this sentence, I'm going to write my sentence, but I want you guys to finish it here. 저는 매주 약 8시간 정도. And then what did you do every week for about approximately 8 hours? Okay, for me, I'll say 책을 읽어요. And then I'll tell you about this. I would tell you about it first, but I realized I have to edit the video after, and if I explain it with everything on the board, it's going to be really confusing watching it later. So we'll do this first, and then I'll explain how that works. 저는 매주 약 8시간 정도 책을 읽어요. So notice, 약 and 정도 are in this sentence. 저는 매주 약 8시간 정도 책을 읽어요. So I, every week, approximately 8 hours, about, or for, or approximately again, around, 책을 읽어요. So I read books about approximately 8 hours every week. What would you guys say for the ending part? And then we'll talk about that. 저는 매주 약 8시간 정도 운동했어요. Lynn Barsh, you want for this, you want to match the tense, although what you have doesn't sound too off, but you want to match the tense because it's saying every week I do. If you say every week I did, it could be if you're talking about the past tense, like as in last month or last year, every week I exercised about 8 hours. Like that, that's fine. But unless there's any sort of other context, just keep in mind that the past tense could be incorrect if there's not the context for that. But if you are talking about the past, totally fine to say that. 매주 약 8시간 정도 한국어를 공부해요. Nice. 빌리 선생님의 동영상을 봐요. Wow, that's a lot. 매주 약 정도 한국어를 공부했어요. Okay, again, as well, Cheryl, you want to make sure you match the tense unless you're talking about the past tense in the first place. Like every week, I studied Korean about 8 hours. 정도 한국어를 공부하기로 했습니다. I decided to study Korean for about 8 hours every week. Okay, nice. You can use that. 매주 8시간 정도 코로나 때문에 방콕함. Yeah, you're stuck. Bangkok every day. Yeah, that's just staying alone at home in your room. And welcome Gems. Today we're learning about Jim, and we also have Jims. Got it wrong. Okay, let me check here. 매주 8시간 정도 그림을 그려요. Okay. This is not something that you need to translate into English, but you might notice 약 being used with 정도. How this works is, if you want to use them together, you'll use 약 together with either 정도 or 좀. You're not going to use 약 with another 약. No 약, yakety yak. None of that. Don't talk back. You can do 약 with 정도 or 약 with 좀. That's how it works. So here we're doing it with 정도, but we could have said 약 8시간쯤 책을 읽어요. That's okay too. Just that's how you can use it together if you want to. But you don't have to. You can use one or the other or mix them, but you have to be 약 with 정도 or 약 with 좀. So you can't do like 정도쯤 or any, because those ones, they wouldn't go before anyway. It has no translatable way it doesn't translate into English. It just emphasizes that you're really not sure. So let's take a look at this from an English person's perspective. 저는, as for me, 매주, every week, 약, approximately 8시간, 8 hours 정도, about, 책을 읽어요. I read books. So that's kind of the feeling. It's like I read books every week about for approximately 8 hours. About approximately 8 hours. It's not too strange sounding in English, right? About approximately 8 hours. It's a little bit unnecessary though, but in Korean, it sounds perfectly fine if you want to emphasize it. So you could just say 8시간 정도 책을 읽어요. 약 8시간 책을 읽어요. 약 8시간 정도, 약 8시간쯤. Any of those are fine. Just keep in mind you might see it. Okay, so now we've learned about 좀, 정도, and 약. That is the end of the beginner lesson for today, but we have some intermediate stuff. So the first half of today's lesson is over. Now let's get into the intermediate stuff. So if you're just a beginner and this is your first time learning about these things, I don't recommend stressing about the rest of this lesson. If you are an intermediate or higher, I'm sure you will get something out of today's lesson. So the next form we're going to be talking about is an intermediate form, and that is 정도. Optionally, when you're using this form, you can also add 로 to the end. The way this works is you take a verb stem, action verb or descriptive verb, and you attach 을 if it ends in a consonant, or you attach a lir by itself if it ends in a vowel. And this conjugation is the same as every other form where you have these two options. There are no other exceptions than the normal exceptions that apply. So any exceptions that apply when you're doing this form with any other form also apply here. So I'm not going to be going over them, but just a quick example, 하다 would become 할, 먹다 would become 먹을. There you go. So what this means, do you guys remember? Just think again. What did I say is the meaning of 정도? 불편할 정도. Yeah. What did I say is the literal meaning of 정도? You guys can write it in chat. What did I say is the literal meaning of 정도? Because that is what we're using in this form. You guys remember? Degree. And there was another word. I said it can mean a degree or, someone remember? In chat? Anyone in chat? 3? Going once, going twice. Amount. You got it. Okay. I said that 정도 means a degree or an amount, and that when you translate it naturally, it can be much. Like that much, or this much, like that. This is the meaning that we need to use this grammar form. The degree that it is verb. The degree that it does verb, if it's an action verb, or the degree that it is verb, if it's a descriptive verb. Or the amount, to the extent that, to the amount that, to the degree that, verb stem, whatever that verb stem is. So literally, to the degree or the amount that verb. Now, we'll give some examples. You can write this down for now. It'll make more sense when you see some examples. So kind of like saying to the extent that verb. But then what's a natural way to translate this? Let's look at this. Much. There is a natural way you can translate this. That sounds better. So much that. So much that. I'm sure you guys could think about a sentence within a minute that could use the phrase or these words in English, so much that. Give me a sentence in English that uses so much that. Something, 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 so much that something. Give me a sentence. Anything. I'm just curious. I just want to read some of your English examples to see if you guys, because I want to see if you guys can get what I mean by saying this. Oh, I mean, I want a whole sentence. Rasputin, whole sentence. I missed him so much my heart hurts. Wonderful. I love BTS so much that I am learning Korean. Okay. He talks so much I got a headache. Perfect. I hope that's not about me. I really hope that's. I have to teach. Okay, I'm talking a lot because I have to teach you guys. I ran out of books. Drank so much coffee I could not sleep. Go to the library so much that some people think I work there. Yeah, you could twist this one to work with that. He exercised so much that he threw up. Yeah. 토할 정도로 엄청 많이 Yeah, you could do that. So much I eat it every day. Yes. Started studying Korean. Okay. Yes, you could say 토할 정도. Yes. 햄버거가 싫을 정도로 많이 먹었어. Okay. Augustus, drama so much I ate so much hamburgers that I hated them, that I didn't like them. You might want to change it a little bit different, like 싫어지다, to become not to like you don't originally dislike it, but like I don't like it anymore. 더 이상 안 좋아할 정도로, or 이제 싫어할 정도로, or something like that. But yeah, that's okay. 싫을 정도 works okay. Red goalie Billy, so much my head exploded. I guess sure. Yeah, you can use this. Okay, I think you guys got it. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood the meaning of so much that, which I'm talking about. Literally, again, to the degree that. So for an example, if you were to say something like, I was so tired I could just fall asleep in the taxi. I was so tired I could just fall asleep in the taxi. If we translate this a different way, we can think of it as, I was so tired to the degree that I could fall asleep in the taxi, or to the amount that, or I was tired so much that I could fall asleep in the taxi. So in this way, remember, the verb stem will go first. So much that is and then the verb before it. So if you wanted to say so much that I don't want to use that as an example. I ate so much my stomach hurt. You would say my stomach hurts so much that my stomach hurts would come first. 배가 아프다. 배가 아플 정도로 많이 먹었어요. So I ate so much to the degree that, to the amount that my stomach hurts. Does that make sense? Please tell me yes. Let's do an example sentence. Oh wait, I'm not done. Okay, we're not done with this. I'm not done explaining. But I'm going to erase this here. Okay, I need to talk one more. I need to explain one more thing about this. Now, this form is often followed by the rest of the sentence. So if you were saying something like, I was so tired, I could have fallen asleep on the bus. Well, then you would say, could fall asleep on the bus, 정도로 피곤했어요. I was tired. So you can finish the sentence, but you could also follow this form with just the verb 이다, meaning to be. So if you were to say something, 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 정도로, you can then finish the sentence, or you could just finish the sentence by saying, without 로, because 로 would make it an adverb. You instead could use this as 정도이다. So I am, or he or she is, or it is, or past tense was, to the extent that, or so much that, something. So maybe you say, oh, I was so tired. So Rodney Dangerfield just learned Korean, okay? So Rodney Dangerfield goes up on the stage and says, 엄청 피곤했어요. 어제 정말 피곤했어요. I was so tired yesterday. And the audience asked, how tired were you? And he would say, although he'd say some funny joke, I was so tired, 이었어요. I was so much that I could fall asleep in a taxi or on the bus. I was 정도였어요. 버스에서 잠들 정도. 잠들다 means to fall asleep. 버스에서 잠들 정도였어요. It was so much that I could fall asleep on a bus. So I just want to illustrate how this can be used with 이다. So it could be, it was that much. That's how much it was. It was so much that you don't have to use it by finishing the sentence with something else. You can just finish the sentence with 이다 if you want. But if you finish this sentence, so that's what I wanted to say. If you finish the sentence with 이다, it will be 정도이다, not 정도로이다. Okay. I don't know if I have an example sentence that uses just 정도이다. I do. I do have one sentence that uses that. Okay. Two more quick notes about this form. Again, these are intermediate notes, so you might not need those. This is similar to using the form for those of you who are more advanced. This is similar. This 정도로 form is similar to using 만큼 with a verb. Now, this is not the same as using 만큼 with 정도 with just a noun, but the verb form with 만큼, this grammar form with 만큼, is pretty much the same thing as using 정도로 with a verb. So keep that in mind. You can use either one. It's not the exact same meaning. 만큼 has a slightly different meaning than 정도. 만큼 is used for actually some sort of an actual amount of something. It also has a different grammar form when it's used after a noun, like as much as well as, like I don't speak Korean, as well as that person. In that case, you can't use it in an exchange. But when you're just talking about saying so much that, to the degree, to the amount that, well, it has the same meaning as 만큼. However, I would say 정도 is a little more common than 만큼 if you're using it in this sort of usage. But in case you are more advanced and you're wondering, Billy, what's the difference between this 정도로 form and 만큼? You can use either one. Just know that the words are not exchangeable, but just in this form, they're exchangeable. Okay. And one more thing. So the last thing I want to talk about before I give you some examples is, when would you use 정도? Well, if you understand how it could be used in English, so much that, I think you might understand how it's used in Korean. Just like we say something something so much that in English, they do the same thing in Korean. Oh, I was so tired. I could have just fallen asleep on the bus. Oh, I was so poor. I had to eat potatoes every day. Exaggerating. Who doesn't love to exaggerate things, right? That's what this form is used in Korean for too. Now, it doesn't have to be. It can be real. You can say, yeah, we were so poor. I couldn't take the bus. I had to walk to school every day. I was so poor. But it could also be an exaggeration. Like, oh, I was so poor. I had to eat ramen for college every single day of the month. Now, that's probably an exaggeration. I'm sure you met your parents at some time, you met your friends, you would have had different meals sometimes, but you felt like that. You felt like, oh, every day I had to eat ramen. I was so poor. But it's used when exaggerating things. So keep in mind, it can be used well when you're exaggerating something, just like in English. So just like in English, we'll use so much that to exaggerate something, you can do the same thing in Korean, but it doesn't have to. Okay, now let's do some example sentences. Now that I've finished explaining this, and I am way over schedule. 배가 너무 고파서. Because I am too hungry. 배가 고프다 means I'm hungry. 배가 너무 고파서 생양파. Now, if you know 양파 means onion, 생 can be attached before any sort of vegetable to mean raw. 생 means raw with these vegetables. So 생양파, raw onion. 생양파도 먹을 수. Let's just do this for right now. 먹을 수 있어요. Here is one sentence you can make. It doesn't use 정도, but I just want to show you this sentence first. So let's first look at this sentence. 배가 너무 고파서 생양파도 먹을 수 있어요. Because I am so hungry, I could or I can eat even a raw onion. So I can even eat a raw onion because I am so hungry. I am so hungry. Because I am so hungry, I could even eat a raw onion. Can we read down there? Okay, yeah, go. 배가 너무 고파서 생양파도 먹을 수 있을 정도예요. So it is 정도예요 from 이다. I am to the degree that, to the amount that, or so much that, it is so much that I could eat even a raw onion because I'm so hungry. So I'm so hungry, so much that I am so hungry that I could even eat a raw onion. I'm so hungry I could eat I'm so hungry I could eat even a raw onion. You know, we might say I'm so hungry I can eat a horse. 말 먹을 수 있을 정도요. Now, if you said that in Korean, they might laugh. In fact, you can get horse meat in Korea if you want. It's something you can get if you visit Chengdu. It tastes really nice. I think they also have horse meat in Europe as well. It's not common in the US though. I know it sounds really weird, but it's quite normal. Anyway, 배가 너무 고파서 생양파도 먹을 수 있을 정도예요. So because I'm so hungry, it's the extent that it is so much that I could eat even a raw onion. 배가 너무 고파서 생양파도 먹을 수 있을 정도예요. Okay. Next sentence. Oh, let me write this down real quick and I'll check that out. Hey, Gianna. Gianna, love it when I catch you live. Yeah, thanks for coming. Let's do 10 dabs. Hold on, let me get a... I think we should turn on the dab music for this. Where's that? Oh, here it is. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. Okay, thank you. All right, so our sentence, and thanks for coming as well. 버스에서, on the bus, so or at the bus. 잠들다 is to fall asleep. 잠들 정도, so much that I fall asleep on the bus. 피곤했어요. I was tired so much that, or to the degree that, or to the amount that, I would, or I could, here I do, fall asleep on the bus. So I was so tired, I could fall asleep on the bus. 버스에서 잠들 정도로 피곤했어요. I was so tired that I could fall asleep, or I could have fallen asleep on the bus, because it's past tense. I was tired. 버스에서 잠들 정도로 피곤했어요. 버스에서 잠들 정도로 피곤했어요. I was so tired. I was tired so much that I could fall asleep, or I could have fallen asleep on the bus. Okay, one more example sentence with this form, and then we'll move on to our next intermediate form we have to learn. 한 달, 1 month. 한 달 동안, for 1 month. 고구마만 먹어야 할 정도로 okay. 가난했어요. 가난하다 is to be poor. So, I was poor. 가난했어요. How poor were you? Well, I was so poor that I had to eat 먹어야 하다. I had to eat 고구마만. Only 고구마. Now, 고구마 are the purple sweet potatoes. 한 달 동안, for 1 month, 고구마만 먹어야 할 정도. The extent that I had to eat only 고구마 for 1 month. 한 달 동안, 한 달 동안. 가난했어요. I was poor. 한 달 동안 고구마만 먹어야 할 정도로 가난했어요. So I was so poor I had to eat only sweet potatoes for a month. 한 달 동안 고구마만 먹어야 할 정도로 가난했어요. Literally, I was poor. The amount that, to the degree that, I had to only eat 고구마. Literally, I had to eat only 고구마 for the period of 1 month. Okay. Check the chat for a second. Wait, was that 15? Oh! Wow, hold on. I wrote down 10. I didn't look close enough. Thank you. Let's do five more dabs here. Sorry about that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, these sounds like Yo Mama jokes. You can make the best Yo Mama jokes with this form, but I need to tell you something. Koreans would hate yo mama jokes unless they are very westernized Koreans. Insulting someone else's parents is very rude in Korea, not considered funny. It would just be it would be like swearing at them. It's just fighting words. So I do not recommend translating yo mama jokes into Korean unless the Korean is very aware already of what a yo mama joke is. Like if they're very accustomed with Western culture, then it's okay. You can tell them and, joke about it. But if you're saying it in Korean as a joke, they won't take it as a joke. It's not a joke in Korean. Just keep that in mind. But yes, this could be a very powerful form for making yo mama jokes. So just be careful with that. I've given you guys a lot of power, and with great power comes great responsibility, as you all know from the 2002, 2001 Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. Okay, so now we've got a couple more intermediate forms we're going to talk about. The first form we're going to talk about next is Jim Hada. Jim Hada. Now, what is Jim Hada? Well, Jim Hada is actually nothing special. It doesn't mean nothing special. I mean, this form is nothing special. This form is not complicated. Jim Hada. What this is you take a noun just like before and you attach Jim. So take a noun, Jim with no space, and then you attach Hada to the end. So Jim Hada is actually, you can think of this as meaning Jim Ida. So what would Jim Ida mean? About whatever the word before. So let's say, if you were to say man won, 10,000 won, 만원 쯤이에요. So it is about or approximately 10,000 won, right? Okay, you can use 쯤이다 to say it is about. But if you're using money before 쯤, then you have one extra option. You can use 쯤이다. It is about 10,000 won. Or you can also use 하다. 쯤 하다. 만 원쯤 해요. It is about 10,000 won. There's a slight difference though. If you were to use 쯤 with 하다, it has the feeling of saying it costs that amount of money. So it also means it is about that much, but only when it's used with money. You can use 쯤 하다 and it kind of means it costs. It kind of means it costs. So 만 원쯤 해요. It costs about $10. 만 원쯤이에요. It is about 10,000 won. Did I say dollars? It costs about 10,000 won versus 만 원쯤이에요. It is about 10,000 won. So in that way, I think it's much more common to say 쯤 하다 when you're talking about an approximate price for something. Now you also can use this with Chengdu, but 쯤 is kind of a little bit more of a casual spoken form. 정도 하다 would be, you could also use 정도 들어요, would probably match better. But anyway, 쯤 하다, very common spoken way of saying how much something costs. Instead of just saying, oh, 만 원 정도예요. It is approximately 10,000 won. That sounds okay. 만 원쯤 해. Sounds much more natural. Yeah, it costs about 10,000 won. Okay, so let's do an example with this. Actually, let's change the number. Just to show you the difference one more time. 5,000원쯤 해요. 5,000원쯤이에요. Again, when it's used with a when it's used with a amount of money, when it's used with a cost, you can use it with hada. So here it's kind of like saying it costs about 5,000 won, so about $5. And here it's just saying 좀 이에요. It is about $5. I think hada sounds a little bit more natural. It's like saying it costs versus just saying it is. So you can use either one, but you just have this extra option. Okay, and our last grammar form today is also an intermediate form. And that is the grammar form 좀. Now, this is not what you think. This one gets misspelled in Korean as Jim all the time, but it's different. I bet Grant Gems, you're probably going to get something out of this one today. Let me just write it up real quick. Yeah. Jim, let's do a space here. And then a space. Or Jim. Okay, hold on. Who is that? Lynn, time to get ready for class tomorrow. No dabs necessary. 다음에 또 봐요. 감사합니다. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. 감사합니다. 감사합니다, Lynn. Sweet. I will do dabs anyway. Okay. Well, it's getting hot. Let me check, make sure my air conditioner's on. Oh. How you guys doing? You guys doing okay? Let's turn it down a little bit. Okay. So, this form is often misspelled by Koreans as Jim as well. But it is different. It is not pronounced as, actually, it is pronounced as Jim. That's why Koreans misspell it as Jim. But it is not spelled as Jim. Jim. This is spelled as Jim or Jim, shortened. This form is different, although similar. It's the same thing, but it's totally different. So it's kind of like brothers, but they're not related. It's not very funny. Okay. The way to use this form is you also take a verb stem and you attach a after a consonant. No, yeah. The way to use this is you take a verb stem and you attach after a consonant or a lir after a vowel, just like when you used Chengdu or any other form or the future tense or whatever. And then you'll attach 좀 or 좀. However, due to sound change rules, after a lir, this letter, tsiut, will become a double tsiut. So you get 좀 as the pronunciation anyway. You'll see Koreans write this one as 좀, but it is different. It is not supposed to be written that way. It's just common typo. Okay, I wonder if everyone here already knows. I wonder if there's anyone here who already knows this form. I'm just curious. Anyone here already know this form? Nazca, will you save this class? Yes, every class is saved. I don't know if Nika's here. Okay. This form is not too common. But there is another form that you might know. This form is similar to another form, and I have taught this before briefly. 무렵. 무렵 is used in this exact same way, and 무렵 means around the time when. So, around the time when, verb. So, that's pretty much all this form means. Around the time when. And it's similar to using 무렵. So you can use either 무렵 or 쯤. I think of these two, 쯤 might be a little bit more common than 무렵, but both of them have a similar meaning. 무렵 actually means around that time. 쯤 it's similar to the meaning of about, but it's used when doing something. So I'll do an example sentence of this so you can see. 기차가 도착. Actually, let's put this up here. So I have to add one more word. 정류장. 기차가 정류장에 기차가 정류장에 도착할 쯤. Now notice it's still pronounced as 쯤, but it's a longer sound. It's not 도착할 쯤. It's 도착할 쯤. 도착할 쯤. Now I did say this can be shortened to 쯤, in which case it would become 쯤. But written like this, it would be a little bit longer. 도착할 쯤. So around the time when the train arrived at the station, 잠에서 깼어요. Hold on. Check the air conditioner again. I think it's on. Yeah. Okay. 기차가 정류장에서 도착할 쯤 잠에서 깼어요. So, 잠에서 깨다 is to awaken from your sleep. So I woke up. 잠에서 깼어요. Around the time when the train arrived at the station. So I woke up around when the train arrived at the station. Again, this is still around or about, approximately, but it's the approximate time when something happened. 기차가 정류장에 도착할 쯤 잠에서 깼어요. So I woke up from my sleep. I woke up around the time when the train arrived at the station. Okay, now we're not going to be doing any more example sentences of this form because it's not super common, but if you do just know what it means, you should be able to use it. So yeah, when it's spelled like this, when it's used after a verb, in that case it means around the time when. Otherwise, it just means around or about or approximately. I think that's everything for the lesson. I think we finished the lesson, and mostly on time. All right. So that was today's beginner and intermediate lesson. Again, we'll do some questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask those now. Before I look at the questions though, just a quick reminder, again, you can get the outline for all of the stuff we did today, all of the sentences, and the explanations for today's live stream. You can get those on Patreon along with a worksheet with extra practice examples for the topics that we covered today, all of them. Also, if you are a YouTube member, you can watch this live stream abridged video tonight after the stream, probably about 4 hours from now. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for coming. And if you have any questions, you can stick around. I'll answer questions for the next 15 minutes. 내 밥을 만들 거니 남친의 밥도 하면 되겠어. Oh, I see. You're talking to someone else. I thought you were asking a question. Yes, 요즘 is a shortened form of 요즘. 요즘. Same thing. 쯤 하다는 별로 다르다. 별로 다라는 말이랑 비슷해요. Which word? 별로다라는 말. I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying 별로 달라는. I was like, that doesn't make sense, but I was reading to myself. 별로다? No. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you would think that. 별로다 means not. If you just say 이건 별로다, you're saying that this is not that good. It's just so-so. It's below average. 별로다. So that doesn't relate to Jim Hada at all. Oh yeah, I just answered that, but yeah. Chat's a little bit delayed. When Chengdu, is it used mostly in a question? No, it can be used in statements and questions. Just read up here and see if I missed anything. 저는 이 문법을 이해 안 해요. You want to say I can't understand this grammar, not I choose to not understand. If you say 이해 안 하다, that's like I choose to not understand. You want to say 이해 못하다, 못, or 하지 못하다, or 할 수 없다, cannot. Oh wow, Cheryl. Wow, thank you. Just rounding up your super chat. 18 is the number related to life in Hebrew. 18 is a very bad number in Korean if you're not careful when pronouncing it. I didn't know it needed to be rounded up. Oh yeah, now it's at $50. You're right, Cheryl. Thank you. Awesome. Let me do a dab party for that. Four, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't alternate every other one. That's dizzying. Okay. I haven't learned the grammar form of the sentence yet. Which sentence? Some sentence with 거니? Which sentence are you talking about? Because there is a grammar form 거니, and then there is using 거니 at the end of a sentence with like future tense, like 갈 거니, as in like 갈 거니까. There is that one. I'm not sure which one you're talking about though. 오카린타로. 오카린타로. How much is that? What is PHP? Hold on. Okarin. Okay, it's $1.50. I was like, is that gonna be like $1 or is it gonna be like $10 or something? Okarintaro. I'll put it as 2. I'll do 2 dabs I'll round it up. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? I'll take questions for just 10 more minutes. What is the difference between ane and soge? Arlie, Talk to Me in Korean has a long, detailed video about that. The really quick 5-second answer, because I don't have 10 minutes to talk about that, like it would require. Ane is just the act, just inside somewhere. Soge is deep within. You also use soge for anything that's not physically inside of somewhere. So if you want to say like in my mind, in my heart, you'd also use sok. If it's not literally in the center, like actually inside of something, you can use sok. So you'd use like within the mountains or deep within the forest, like that. 숲 속, 산 속, like that. You wouldn't use 산에, 산 안에. That would be like inside the mountain, like inside the Matterhorn at Disneyland. They have a basketball court. You'd say Matterhorn 안에 농구장 있어요. You wouldn't say 속에. You could, but anyway, soge is like deep within. So if you could say deep within, then use soge. Carrie, wow, your celebrity imitations are always hilarious. I never know who understands which imitations, because I don't know how old people are here. Like I'm 34, so someone would have to be at least my age to get some of that. Wow, thank you, Carrie. I always think about Carrie Fisher every time I see your name in chat. Ooh, 20. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I can take a few more questions for about 8 more minutes, and then we'll stop for today. Can you use the narrative present tense in formal situations? Narrative, Sophia, do you mean the plain form, like 한다, 간다? If so, then no, unless you're doing a quote. Those forms would only be used in casual speech, or quoting, or talking to yourself, not in a formal situation directed at anyone else. 빌리님의 보조개가 귀여워요. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have two. Most people don't notice. They used to be more prominent when I was little, but you can still see them. Whew. Yeah. Asked Billy to make a video citing the most important grammar forms for speaking and understanding Korean. Everything. There is no most important grammar forms for speaking Korean. You need every grammar form for speaking Korean. Even the one that I told you is not super common, chum, at the end, you still need it for speaking Korean because someone might use it. It depends how much Korean do you want to speak. I do have a video though, if you kind of want a general summary, a video called After Learning Hangul, where I just list some of the stuff to learn, but those are topics. They're not grammar forms. They're topics that you need to learn. Oh, hey Chris, wow, thank you, my moderator. Oh, Chris, gotta do 20 more dabs. Oh, okay, here we go. Go. 1, 2, 3, 10. Thank you, Chris. Whew. Let's do one long dab for 20 seconds. Interpretive, it's a, what is it? Interpretive dance. It's a 20-second dab. Oh, did you make a comment? Where? Oh, yeah, I missed it. Yeah, the long dab comment. Yeah, it's too late. It's the dab reflex. It just took over as soon as I saw the donation. That when I saw your comment, it was already too late. The damage has been done. 철수가 너무 많이 돌고 있어서 토할 정도로 어지럽겠다. 철수? Charsu is spinning around so much that I'm going to throw up. I'm so dizzy that I'm going to throw up. Or Charsu is spinning something around. I'm not sure what it is that Charsu is spinning. Oh yeah. Back here, that's KeyCat. Yeah, that's KeyCat on the announcement TV of the train that I'm on right now. Wait. Hold on. Oh no, I totally missed my stop. I was supposed to go like 5 stops, remember? What stop am I at? Hold on. Busan? Welcome everyone to the lovely city of Busan. So it appears that I've missed my stop by about 20 stops. And yeah, during the 2 hours or so I was teaching, or the hour, during the time I was teaching, it appears that I've already arrived at Busan. So I guess I'm going to be enjoying the day at the beach today. And maybe I can see if I have any friends in Busan who would hang out with me. But that's okay. Busan's great too. I'll just have to take the train back another 2 hours tonight. Anyway, yeah, I can see the train just stopped. We're at the end of the line, so I have to get off here. But everyone, thank you for coming. Billy, don't go outside. There's zombies there. Zombies. Nah, it's just people tired and they're like, they got their arms out and they're kind of moaning and walking strange. They're probably just tired from the weather. You know, I'm sure it's fine. Thank you everyone for coming. And if you have any other questions, make sure to join my Discord channel where you can ask all the questions you want. I'll put a link to the Discord. Should pop up any second. There's also a link to the Discord in the description of this video. Again, thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Okay, so what am I going to do in Busan now? Gosh.